Hey there! In this video, I'll show you how to overlay a text and button over an image. So let's start from scratch. So I'll delete this section, and the first thing you need to do is add a section and then use the image as a section background. So inspect the section, go to enable advanced here, background advanced, and choose the image type. So let's choose an image here. As you can see, the image aspect ratio here is rectangle, horizontal rectangle, and we also have a portrait rectangle, or vertical, or it's called portrait layout, and this one is landscape. And we also have a more of a close to square aspect ratio. It's still a rectangle, but it's let's say this one is a narrow rectangle, and this one is a taller rectangle. So for simplicity, I'll just choose this aspect ratio. So take note of the aspect ratio. It's a shorter rectangle in terms of height. So let's use this. So the first thing you'll see is the parts of the image is cropped, and that's because we're using a background. So if we'll use an image element here, sorry, drag an image element, and let's just add the same image. So as you can see, the image element fills up the space, but that is not the case if you use it as a background. So by default, this covers the section, so it doesn't fill up the space. So you need to remember that when setting background image. So now let's add the text, or maybe I'll use a headline, custom classic headline for simplicity, and set the color to white, and then let's add a button. So I won't go over setting up or designing this these elements, because we'll be concentrating on the overlay aspect of the design. So I'll just so let's align these elements to the right. So to do that, you can either go to the inspect the section or the row, and under formatting, text align, you choose the right align setup. So now we want to show parts of the image. So to do that, you inspect either the row or the section, or even the column, and set the top and bottom padding. So let's see here, let's just say let's adjust this to 100. It doesn't show the rest of the image yet, so let's increase this to maybe 400. So that's better. And the bottom one, let's say maybe 150 pixels, so it shows the wheel of the skateboard here. So the last thing you need to do is test this. in different screen sizes. So here's the laptop view, the tablet, the phone, and also the smallest view. So if you see here, maybe the space in the bottom is maybe too much. So using the padding method here won't help in this case, because there's no responsive you can't set different values per screen size. So the trick here is to set the bottom padding to 0. So don't worry if you get this, and we'll replace that with a gap element. So we put in a gap below our button here, and then set this to 150, and then go to customize, and then we don't want this gap element to or this specific gap element to show in our mobile view or in phone view. So you can turn this off in customize, hide, use the hide during breakpoints feature. So the gap is hidden, and then let's add another gap, and this time maybe adjust this to 100 pix, or maybe you want a 80 pix. And as you can see, this gap shows in all screen sizes. So go to customize again, or if maybe you want this gap to affect the other screen sizes, and then in mobile view you just hide the top gap. So if you want to hide this in the desktop, laptop, and tablet, you can choose to enable the hide during breakpoints in these breakpoints. So maybe in desktop view, the gap looks good in the desktop view, so I'll disable the hide during breakpoints in desktop, so the wheel is more prominent. Here's the laptop, tablet, and then the phone screens. By the way, if you've noticed the image here, it's cropped in phone screens and tablet. So if you want to show the original aspect ratio, here's what you can do. So let's remove the gap elements, and let's also reset the, or should I say set the sections top padding to a percentage value. So it's huge, and maybe let's reduce that to maybe 25%. Also do that to the bottom padding, let's say 10%. So in order to see the original aspect ratio of the image, you can set the background size here to contain temporarily, just to see the aspect ratio of the image. So if you want to follow this aspect ratio, we just adjust the padding here. So maybe give that a 30 top and 20 bottom. The bottom one is maybe too big, so adjust that to maybe 15, and top say 45. It's uh, the goal here is to eliminate the white spaces. So let's try 40, 38, 40, 35. So we're close. So 33. Let's say 33.5. It's just okay. So it's 33.55. And then let's set the background size again to cover. So as you can see here, the if we switch to tablet, it's still close to its original aspect ratio. So this is the closest you can get to maintain the aspect ratio of the image.